stop rubbing toothpaste and magic erasers on your car. You are not fixing your paint, you are just temporarily masking the problem and potentially creating an even bigger, hazier, more expensive mess. The auto body industry wants you to believe that fixing a minor scrape is an $800 disaster, while viral internet hacks are feeding you straight-up lies about miracle household cures. And those cheap magic scratch remover pens? They often leave mismatched, ugly blobs and offer a temporary band-aid rather than a real cure. The hard truth is that a lot of off-the-shelf scratch removers or home remedies like toothpaste act as very mild abrasives that might temporarily fill or mask superficial blemishes, but those results will just wash away after a few rainstorms, leaving your car looking exactly as damaged as it did before. Meanwhile, using something like a magic eraser is essentially like taking a fine sandpaper block directly to your finish, which can leave a dull, frosted patch that ruins your car's natural shine. But today, I'm going to expose the industry myths and show you the only scientifically proven method to permanently remove car scratches. I am going to teach you the legendary fingernail test to instantly diagnose your paint damage like a master detailer. Then I will walk you step by step through the exact abrasive leveling techniques that physically erase the scratch from your clear coat so that it never comes back. Whether you are dealing with a light clear coat scuff from a rogue shopping cart or a frustrating branch scrape, I will show you how to easily melt away the damage and restore a flawless factory glass finish. The absolute best part? It requires absolutely no special mechanical skills, and you can do it right in your own driveway for under $30. If you are ready to stop wasting money on gimmicks and permanently erase those ugly scratches today, listen closely, because we are going to dive deep into the science of automotive paint. Before we can permanently erase a scratch, you need to understand exactly what you are looking at. Modern automotive paint is not just a single layer of color splashed onto a metal door. It is a sophisticated, multi-layered architectural system engineered to provide optical clarity, color depth, and a barrier against environmental degradation. Your car's finish is generally categorized into 4 distinct layers. At the very bottom, you have the substrate, which is the structural body panel made of bare metal, aluminum, or composite plastic. Sitting directly on top of that is the primer, which is usually 1 to 2 mils thick. The primer's main job is to provide adhesion for the paint and offer crucial corrosion and rust inhibition. Above the primer is the base coat, which is where your car gets its actual color pigment, and any visual effects like metallic flakes or pearl finishes. Finally, sitting on the very top of this system is the clear coat. The clear coat is a transparent sacrificial barrier, often made of polyurethane or acrylic urethane, that protects the base coat from oxidation, repels UV radiation, and gives your car its glossy shine. Here is the most terrifying and important fact you need to know about your clear coat. It is incredibly thin. We are talking about a thickness of just 1.5 to 2.0 mils. To give you an idea of just how thin that is, the factory clear coat on your car is thinner than a standard sticky note, or about the thickness of a plastic sandwich bag. This thinness imposes a strict mathematical limit on the amount of material we can remove before the layer's structural integrity is compromised. So, why can you see a scratch in the first place? It all comes down to the physics of light refraction. A scratch is essentially a jagged microscopic canyon carved into your clear coat. On scratch-free paint, light hits the smooth surface and reflects back in a constant, uniform pattern, creating a mirror-like shine. But when there is a scratch, the light hits those jagged, irregular edges and scatters in multiple directions. This scattered light creates a stark white or silver contrast against the smooth paint, making the defect highly visible to the human eye. To fix this, we are not going to fill in the canyon with temporary glazes or waxes. Permanent restoration requires a process called abrasive leveling. We are going to physically remove the microscopic peaks of the surrounding clear coat until the surface is geometrically flat. By rounding off those sharp edges through microabrasives, the light will reflect consistently once again, rendering the defect entirely invisible. But before we start leveling anything, we have to diagnose the depth of the damage. If you use the wrong repair method on the wrong type of scratch, you are going to waste your time and potentially ruin your paint. We are going to use the quickest and most reliable diagnostic tool in the automotive industry, the fingernail test. First, clean the scratched area thoroughly, because dirt can give you a false reading. Next, place your fingernail perpendicular to the scratch and gently drag it across the surface. You need to pay close attention to the tactile feedback. If your fingernail glides over the mark without catching at all, you are dealing with a level 1 superficial clear coat scratch. These are the easiest to fix and respond beautifully to simple polishing. If your fingernail catches slightly or feels uneven, you have a level 2 deep clear coat scratch. It has dug deeper into that sticky note-thin layer, but hasn't broken through to the color underneath. We can fix this permanently with wet sanding and machine or hand polishing. However, if your fingernail catches firmly in the groove, or if you can visually see a different color, like a white or gray primer, or silvery bare metal, the scratch has breached the clear coat entirely. Abrasive leveling alone will not fix a level 3 or level 4 scratch because the actual color pigments have been ripped away. You cannot polish missing paint back into existence. If you see bare metal, you are looking at a level 4 defect that requires immediate structural replacement using color-matched touch-up paint to prevent rust and galvanic corrosion. There is one more diagnostic trick you can use to confirm your findings, called the Soapy Water Test. Spray the scratch with some soapy water. If the scratch temporarily vanishes before your eyes, it is almost certainly a clear coat scratch. This happens because the water fills the microscopic void and has a refractive index very close to that of the clear coat itself, temporarily restoring the optical continuity of the surface. Once the water dries, the white scratch will reappear. If the scratch remains visible even when soaking wet, it means the damage has penetrated into the base coat or primer, and you will need to add new paint. For the primary focus of this guide, we are going to tackle those highly visible, highly annoying level 1 and level 2 clear coat scratches. To achieve a professional permanent repair without stepping foot in a body shop, you need to assemble a specific arsenal of supplies. The best part is that you can source all of this for under $30. First, you need automotive wet-dry sandpaper. Specifically, you need 2000 grit, 3000 grit, and 5000 grit sandpaper. Do not use standard wood sandpaper. It must be rated for automotive wet sanding. The higher the grit number, the finer and less abrasive the paper is. You will also need a flexible sanding block, a foam pad, or simply a standard kitchen sponge. Never sand with your bare fingers. Your fingers create uneven pressure points and valleys that will dig trenches into your paint and ruin the finish. By wrapping the sandpaper around a sponge, the pressure is distributed evenly across the entire surface area, ensuring a perfectly flat, uniform cut. Next, you need a spray bottle filled with clean water and a few drops of automotive or standard dish soap. This soapy water is going to act as our crucial lubricant. You will also need a stack of premium, clean microfiber towels. Before you use them, rip the tags off. A stiff nylon tag can easily drag across your clear coat and inflict brand new scratches, which is the exact opposite of what we are trying to achieve. You will also need a high-quality polishing compound. Scratch removers and polishing compounds contain engineered microabrasives, such as aluminum oxide, suspended in a liquid lubricant. Think of this compound as liquid sandpaper, typically equivalent to 5000 grit or finer. Products like Meguiar's Ultimate Compound, Chemical Guy's VSS, or Turtle Wax Scratch Repair and Renew are fantastic choices that will break down the sanding haze and restore the factory gloss. Finally, you will need a protective car wax, a polymer sealant, or a ceramic coating to seal your finished work. Now that your arsenal is assembled, we begin phase 1, decontamination. The most common mistake people make is skipping the preparation stage. If you start rubbing abrasives over a dirty car, the loose grit, dirt, and road debris will act like aggressive sandpaper, severely marring your paint. Wash the affected panel thoroughly with a pH-neutral automotive shampoo. For true perfection, you should also wipe the area down with a 70% isopropyl alcohol solution or a dedicated panel prep spray. This chemical decontamination dissolves and strips away any old waxes, sealants, or hidden silicone oils that might artificially fill the scratch or interfere with your abrasives. Once the paint is surgically clean, use automotive masking tape to frame the scratch. Place the tape about a ½ inch above and below the damage. This creates a boundary so you know exactly where the defect is, as it can be very difficult to spot the original scratch once the surface gets cloudy during the repair process. Now, take a deep breath because we are moving to phase 2, the permanent eraser technique, also known as wet sanding. This is the stage that terrifies most people, but if you respect the science, you will be completely safe. We are going to start with our 2000 grit or 3000 grit sandpaper, depending on how deep the scratch felt during the fingernail test. Soak the sandpaper in your soapy water bucket for about 5 minutes. The hydrodynamics of wet sanding are critical here. The water acts as a coolant to dissipate the heat generated by friction, preventing the thermal stability of the paint resins from breaking down or burning. The soap reduces surface tension and prevents the sandpaper from loading or clogging up with shaved clear coat particles, which could otherwise drag across the panel and carve deep, unintended trenches into your paint. Wrap your thoroughly soaked sandpaper around your kitchen sponge or backing pad. Douse the scratch and the surrounding taped area with your soapy water spray. Now, begin sanding. Here's the golden rule. You must sand in straight, alternating lines perpendicular to the scratch. If the scratch runs horizontally, you sand vertically. Never, under any circumstances, sand in circular motions. Circular sanding creates deep, multi-directional pigtail scratches that are an absolute nightmare to polish out later. Apply light to medium pressure, letting the abrasives do the cutting rather than forcing it with your body weight. Sand for about 15 seconds, then stop. Use your spray bottle to rinse away the milky white clear coat sediment and wipe the area completely dry with a clean microfiber towel. When you wipe that water away, your heart might skip a beat. The area you just sanded will look dull, frosted, and completely matte. Do not panic. This is exactly what it is supposed to look like. You have successfully leveled the clear coat. Now, inspect the frosted area closely. Are there any shiny spots remaining in the matte finish? Those shiny spots are the low valleys of the scratch that have not yet been leveled. If you still see the scratch, spray the panel with more soapy water and sand for another 10 to 15 seconds. Repeat this process of sanding, rinsing, and wiping until the surface has a uniform, frosted appearance and the original scratch has completely vanished. However, you must exercise extreme caution. Clear coat is remarkably thin, and the most costly mistake you can make is sanding entirely through the clear coat and hitting the base color. If you notice the soapy water taking on the actual color of your car's paint, stop immediately. You have breached the clear coat, and polishing will no longer save you. Always err on the side of caution. If a scratch is exceptionally deep, it is better to reduce its visibility by 80% and leave a microscopic valley than to aggressively chase perfection and burn through to the primer. Once the scratch is leveled and gone, we need to refine our aggressive 3000 grit sand marks. Move your masking tape up and down about an inch to slightly expand your working zone. Step up to your ultrafine 5000 grit sandpaper. Wrap it around your sponge, douse the area in soapy water, and sand the frosted patch, extending slightly past the original boundaries to feather the edges. This step smooths out the rough 3000 grit ravines, preparing the surface for the polishing compound. Wipe the area dry one last time. The scratch is gone, but the paint is still hazy. It is time for phase 3, bringing back the glass finish. This is where the magic happens. We are going to use our liquid polishing compound to refine the surface topography back to a mirror shine. Apply 3 to 4 pea-sized drops of your polishing compound directly onto a clean microfiber applicator pad or a folded microfiber towel. Unlike the straight line rule for wet sanding, when you apply polishing compound by hand, you absolutely want to use firm, overlapping circular motions. Work the polish vigorously into the hazy, frosted area for about 30 to 60 seconds. You need to apply moderate to heavy pressure because you are relying on the friction of your hand to break down the microabrasives suspended in the liquid. As you rub, those microscopic aluminum oxide particles are acting like 10,000 grit liquid sandpaper, physically rounding off the microscopic haze until the surface is optically perfect. If you own a dual-action machine polisher or a drill attachment kit like the Meguiar's Quick Scratch Eraser, this step becomes incredibly fast and effortless. The machine generates the rapid speed and friction necessary to break the abrasives down perfectly. But if you are working by hand, just put some serious elbow grease into it. After a minute of heavy polishing, grab a fresh, clean section of your microfiber towel and quickly buff away the leftover compound residue. Stand back and look at that reflection. The dull, terrifying matte patch is completely gone. The scratch has vanished into thin air, and your factory glass finish has been completely restored. If you still see a slight shadow or a faint halo of haze, simply apply a few more drops of compound and repeat the polishing process until the clarity is absolutely flawless. Now, we must address phase 4, protection. This is the step that amateur detailers always forget. By physically wet sanding and compounding the paint, we just shaved off a microscopic layer of the vehicle's factory clear coat. That clear coat was packed with UV inhibitors designed to protect your base color from fading, oxidation, and sun damage. Because we exposed a fresh, unprotected layer of clear coat, we must artificially seal and protect our repair site. You have 3 main choices for protection: Carnauba paste wax provides a stunning, deep organic gloss and acts as a minor filler, but it has low heat resistance and typically only lasts for 1 to 2 months. Synthetic polymer sealants offer a brilliant shine and superior chemical resistance, providing 6 to 12 months of durable protection. Finally, ceramic coatings, which utilize silicon dioxide to form a semi-permanent chemical bond with the clear coat, offer extreme hardness and hydrophobic properties that can last anywhere from 2 to 5 years. Whichever product you choose, apply a generous layer over the repaired panel. Let it haze up according to the manufacturer's instructions and gently buff it off with a plush microfiber towel. Your clear coat scratch is now permanently erased. Because you didn't rely on cheap silicone-heavy glazes or gimmick pens to temporarily mask the damage, this repair will never wash away in the rain or fade at the car wash. You used the exact same abrasive leveling science that high-end body shops use, restoring the optical continuity of the surface geometry. But what if you performed the fingernail test earlier and your scratch failed? What if you are dealing with a nasty level 3 or level 4 gouge that sliced through the clear coat, tore through the color-based coat, and exposed the gray primer or the silvery bare metal underneath? Do not panic. You can still achieve a professional-grade permanent repair at home, but mechanical leveling alone will not save you. You must structurally replace the missing pigment. First, you need to find your vehicle's exact OEM paint color code. Do not guess the color based on a visual match. Automotive paint variations are incredibly precise. You can usually find a vehicle information sticker located on the driver's side, door jamb, under the hood on the firewall, or inside the glove box. Look for an alphanumeric sequence labeled XTPNT, or Paint No. If you cannot locate it, you can call a dealership parts department and give them your vehicle identification number, and they can pull the exact factory paint code from their database. Order a high-quality touch-up paint bottle or pen that specifically matches this code. Thoroughly clean the deep gouge with isopropyl alcohol to ensure absolutely no wax, grease, or debris is trapped in the ravine. If bare metal is exposed, you must first apply a pinpoint drop of automotive primer or a rust inhibitor to prevent galvanic corrosion from eating your car panel from the inside out. Once the primer is dry, you are going to use a toothpick or a micro brush to carefully dab the color-matched base coat deep into the scratch. Do not try to paint it like a wall. You want to build up thin, successive layers, allowing 5 to 10 minutes of drying time between each application. Keep layering the pigment until it sits just slightly below the level of the surrounding factory paint. Once the base coat is matte and fully dry, you must apply a clear coat. For a truly permanent professional repair, you should ideally use a 2K or 2-component clear coat. Unlike cheap 1K aerosol clears that dry simply through solvent evaporation and are prone to shrinking over time, a 2K clear coat utilizes a separate hardener or activator. When mixed, this creates a chemical cross-linking reaction that results in a rock-hard finish. This results in a rock-hard, UV-resistant, fuel-resistant shell that perfectly mimics your factory finish. Carefully apply the clear coat over your touch-up paint until it forms a slight blob or high spot that sits slightly above the factory paint level. Allow the clear coat to fully cure. For 2K systems, this might take 48 hours. For 1K touch-up pens, it might take a week or more. Once it is rock hard, you are left with an ugly raised bump of new paint. This is where we return to our abrasive leveling science, using a technique called surgical leveling. You do not want to wet sand a massive area for a tiny paint chip. Instead, create a precision tool. Take a standard wooden popsicle stick, wrap a thin, tight layer of microfiber cloth around it, and apply a tiny dab of paint thinner or rubbing compound. Gently glide the flat, hard edge of the stick strictly over the raised touch-up blob. Because the stick is perfectly flat, it will only shave down the high spot without aggressively digging into the surrounding factory clear coat. Alternatively, use a standard hole puncher to punch out a tiny circle of 2000 grit or 2500 grit sandpaper. Use superglue to attach that tiny circle of sandpaper directly to the flat, rubber head of a pencil eraser. Dip the eraser head in soapy water, and you now have a precision, surgical wet sanding tool. Carefully twist the eraser directly over the touch-up blob, shaving it down until it is perfectly flush and level with the rest of the car door. Once the touch-up blob is flattened and frosted, you simply repeat phase 3. Apply your polishing compound, grab your microfiber towel, and buff the area with heavy circular pressure until the sanding haze disappears and the gloss is restored. Finally, lock in your hard work with a layer of premium wax or ceramic coating. By understanding the chemical and physical properties of your car's paint, You never have to be at the mercy of expensive body shops or viral internet lies again. You possess the knowledge to accurately diagnose paint damage, the tools to safely level the clear coat, and the technique to polish and seal the finish to an absolute mirror shine. The industry myths have been busted. The magic erasers belong in the trash. Whether it is a light scuff or a nasty gouge, you now have the scientific blueprint to permanently erase those ugly scratches, restore your vehicle's value, and get your pride and joy looking like it just rolled off the showroom floor.